Have you ever seen a camera with a lens like this? Ever wonder what the heck it is? Well, watch and find out. In my last video, I talked about the Canon T50 with its excellent automatic exposure capabilities. That camera is a product of the 1980s, but auto exposure technology has been around for decades before. Selenium meter cameras were popular in the late 1950s through to the 1960s. This 1963 Yashica Minimatic C is an example of one such machine. Like the T50, this camera has limited manual controls. You can select an aperture setting for a flash or use the camera's auto mode. A good old-fashioned film advance lever is the hardest you'll have to work to take photos. The large selenium array on the lens allows the camera to interpret how much light is in a given scene and select an aperture and shutter speed appropriate. The only input the user needs to worry about when shooting on auto is their film speed. It's interesting to note the highest speed this camera could meter was 400 ISO back in 1963. This camera manages to get great exposures without the use of microchips or computers. So how does a selenium meter work? You could think of a selenium meter sort of like a solar panel. Photons bounce into the meter and through a chemical reaction make an electric charge. The voltage of the charge dictates how much light is in the scene. More voltage, more light. The bubbles in the selenium cell are actually special lenses arranged in a honeycomb pattern to collect the light better in the direction the camera is pointing. Selenium meter cameras open the floodgates for consumers to take great pictures without the need for extensive photography knowledge. There's no reason to worry about the exposure triangle when the camera can do it all for you. Selenium meter coupled cameras had a great run for about 10 years before battery power made them obsolete. It was convenient not to carry a separate light meter, but selenium cells produce hardly any electric charge, which means the cameras could be victim to poor exposure in challenging lighting scenarios. Take a look at some of these photos that were shot with a strong backlight, and you'll see right away. Selenium cells will eventually lose their sensitivity to light and produce unfavorable results if left in direct sunlight for a long time. With that said, if you find a selenium cell camera that was stored in a dark, dry place, chances are it still works great. It's a fun history piece that will still produce great results. And now you know what that funny lens is.